All obstacles hindering on businesses is being removed. We are reforming the economy based on the principle and philosophy of good governance. For us in Nigeria, we have the largest population in Africa and the biggest economy and biggest opportunity for all of you. We are reforming the economy to accommodate foreign investment. We are ready to partner with you. We have the youngest vibrant youth population, if add that, in Africa all through. And I believe Nigeria is a leading population in that area. Equally, we have what modern economy needs. Well-educated population. Equally, we have the opportunity to digitalize, and we are on the rapid move on that, the digitalization of our economy and environment. So telecommunication is one of the best areas to invest.
The candidate of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, in this year's presidential election, Atiku Abubakar, has lashed out at the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, over its practice of democracy. In a statement, the former vice president accused the ruling party of attempts to derail democracy through its snatch, grab and run agenda. According to Mr. Abubakar, the ideal notion of democracy does not just reside in a representative government, but essentially rooted in the plurality of ideas, in a system ready open to opposition and opposing views. In the words of Mr. Abubakar, quote, "Sadly and suddenly, we have seen a trend whereby the range of opposition engagement continues to be narrowed by the ruling party in Nigeria, either through the electoral process, where opposition parties are rigged out with brazen impunity, or during the post-election court processes, where the judiciary is conspicuously doing the bidding of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. It has become increasingly apparent that the democracy in Nigeria is in a state of ill health." He condemned what he terms controversial court declarations in states being controlled by the opposition political parties, where what the ruling party missed out on election day are being delivered to them through the courts. The former vice president maintains that these constitute ominous signs that threaten citizens' faith in the electoral and judicial system. Meanwhile, in a swift reaction, the presidency has described Mr. Atiku Abubakar's criticism as misplaced and asked Nigerians to ignore it. In a statement, the president's special advisor on information and strategy, Mr. Bayo Ononuga, accused the PDP and its presidential candidate of throwing caution to the wind as they assaulted the integrity of the judiciary and made wild and libelous allegations against the president. According to him, the opposition PDP and Mr. Abubakar are only looking for someone to blame for the losses they have recorded in the courts in the aftermath of the 2023 elections. In his words, President Tinubu is a Democrat to the core. We make bold to say that as president, he has not interfered with the judgment of the judiciary. We had witnessed how, under his watch, the PDP governor in Osun defeated the APC at the Supreme Court. Similarly, the PDP governor in Bauchi also won his case in the appeal court, beating the APC. President Tinubu is also not planning to impose a one-party state, as Atiku has serially alleged, and his party and spokesman have now parroted. He maintains that the opposition party is merely crying wolf, with allegations deliberately aimed at unnecessarily heating up the polity and causing disenchantment in the country. Governor Dauda Lawal of Zamfara State says he is optimistic of winning a rerun poll in the state as recently ordered by the court. Now, the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja had declared the 2023 Zamfara State governorship election inconclusive and ordered a rerun in 3 local governments of Maradun, Birnin Magaji and Bukuyum. Addressing his supporters at the secretariat of the party in Guzo after he returned from a foreign trip, Governor Lawal declared that he is ready for the rerun election. He then appealed to supporters of the PDP to remain calm and law-abiding.
Zamfara people believe in us, and I can still see the commitment, in fact, much more than where we started. This appeal court ruling shouldn't damn your morale. By the grace of God, we are ready. Even if they want to conduct election in Maradun tomorrow, we are ready. There is nothing to worry about it.
As parties in the Kano state election await the final verdict of the Supreme Court on the governorship poll in the state, concerned citizens have asked the 2 affected political parties to caution their followers not to follow the path of violence. Now, the police in the state has also warned the leader of the APC, or the leadership of the APC and the NNPP, to curb the excesses of their followers, not to involve in any violence act or over the appeal court judgment sacking the state governor, Abba Yusuf, of the NNPP. All right, for more on this, we're now being joined from our Abuja studios, Mr. Dikbo Olayakun, who is the National Secretary of the New Nigeria People's Party. Great to have you on the program, Lunchtime Politics.
Yeah, how are you? Good afternoon. Viewers,
yes,
good afternoon.
Yes, indeed. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Give us your reaction to the appellate court judgment, of course, that sacked the candidate of your party, the NNPP, Governor Abba Yusuf. Let's start with that.
Yes, my opinion is the opinion of the party, because to us it's not acceptable, and we have very good reasons to reject the judgment, because the judgment was hinged on 2 flanks, especially at the tribunal. Then the appeal court hinged it on the issue of membership. And it's laughable, because the issue of membership has been trashed out even to the Supreme Court level. And the general consensus at the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeal is that anybody outside the party cannot challenge the issue of membership. It happened in the case of Obis, Professor Tinubu, and only just yesterday, this matter came up in the Benue State Court ruling, where the court said the PDP candidate that was challenging the membership of a member of APC, that is like a medusum interloper. So I think that is where the issue becomes worrisome. And unfortunately, many people in Nigeria seem to be in agreement with the former vice president that it seems the ruling party, what they couldn't get from the ballot box, they are trying to get this through the courts. And it's a very dangerous trend. Because when you are talking of a court, the court should be one, especially at the level of appeal court or Supreme Court. There should be uniformity in judgment, so that there should be a template or a reference point. But when you are trying to create the dichotomy in the judgment, then everybody needs to be worried. Because in the case of membership of our governor, it becomes it's laughable. Apart from the fact that it has been established even to the Supreme Court level, that outsider cannot even question the membership of somebody in another political party. The Supreme Court even went to the extent of saying that it is not even a member of that party, but somebody who has taken part in the primaries that could challenge the issue of membership. And you wonder if His Excellency Engineer Abba is not a member of NNPP, then you begin to wonder what makes someone a member of NNPP. When as far back as May 2022, when the party had its primaries, the screening for our governorship aspirants, Abba was there. Then we did our primaries across the country. INEC was there as witness. Security agencies were there. Abba was there, and he emerged as the candidate of NNPP after the primaries on June 5th. Then when INEC opened their portal, where you are supposed to submit the names of your candidates, the portal of INEC is so configured in such a way that there are some documents you are going to submit along. This includes the nomination forms purchased by the aspirant, who have eventually become the candidate, the expression of interest form. And apart from that, you are going to submit to INEC portal a membership card of the candidate, and then the membership number. All these things were submitted to INEC in July 2022. And the INEC portal is so configured in such a way that if any of these documents is missing, the portal will not accept it. But unfortunately, only for them in 2023 to say this man is not a member of NNPP is laughable. And you see why we are worried is that, let me even tell Nigerians that the appeal court ruling was given on Friday. Today is Tuesday. As we speak, we have not been able to lay our hands on the certified true copy because the appeal court said it is not ready. And don't forget that we have told the world that we are going to Supreme Court. And when you're talking of Supreme Court, there are some documents you need really from the judgment. But if 5 days after the judgment that was read on Friday is not ready, then it's like there is some people, we are beginning to think probably there's more to it than meets the eye. Unfortunately, against the backdrop that after the tribunal ruling, we said we were going to appeal. INEC said they were going to appeal. Only for all of a sudden, a document came from INEC office in Kano that INEC had withdrawn from the appeal. That one created confusion and controversy until INEC headquarters said, no, who authorized these guys to say they were withdrawing? So when you look at some of these signals and signs, there are indications that there's a deliberate attempt to frustrate the appeal of NNPP at the two levels, both at the level of appeal court and at the level of Supreme Court. So I think that is where the world needs to be interested in what is happening in Nigeria. And that is why a lot of Nigerians seem to be in agreement with the former vice president that there is a deliberate attempt to get to, by APC government, what they could not get through the ballot boxes, they are now trying to get through the courts. Go and look at the courts.
Those are actually the views of the former vice president, Mr. Olaikon. Permit me to interrupt you there. But of course, there's this other bone of contention, which I'm sure you're already aware, which is the cancellation of 165,000 votes owing to the ballot papers not being signed or stamped by INEC officials. Of course, you've talked about some of the things that INEC, or some of the things that you noticed from INEC concerning the membership of the governor, whether he was eligible to contest or not. But going by what we've seen from the judgment there concerning the 165,000 votes, what's your response to that? And do you think INEC erred in that regard?
INEC did not err, because if you look at Section 63, Subsection 2 of the Electoral Act, it is very clear. Because anything that involves human being, there could be errors, there could be mistakes. Maybe that is the reason why those who drafted the Electoral Act they are visionary people. There was if there was a mistake on the part of INEC. That was why Section 63, Subsection 2 says, no matter what happens, if the returning officer is convinced that the ballot paper, though not bearing the mark of INEC, but is from the booklet that was supplied to him, that the guy shall read, shall count, and record. And that was exactly what happened. How can you punish a political party for the inadequacies of an agency of government? What concerns a voter, when after collecting his ballot paper, the next thing for him is to go into the cubicle and thumbprint? Do you think a voter will now be looking at the ballot paper, whether it was stamped or signed? So if INEC said, okay, it was a mistake on their part, that's why they have appealed. How can you now punish INNPP for the inadequacy of INEC? And especially when there is a law that has backed that provision on the part of INEC. Section 63 is very clear. The question you should be asking is, this thing, did the total votes on that day, did they overshoot the number of accredited voters on that day? That should have been the question that people should be asking, not to be punishing NNPP for the mistake on the part of INEC. And that is why the law is very clear, because the law says that there could be an omission on the part of INEC. And that's why I say, once the guy is convinced that this ballot paper is from the booklet that has been supplied to me, I mean in terms of the returning officer, then he shall count and record accordingly, which they have done. And on several occasions, this one has been handled by the courts at the court level. So there's nothing that is happening outside the law. So if Nigerians begin to see that things are happening outside the law, that is when they, unfortunately, will be reviving anarchy. Despite all these things, immediately after the tribunal ruling, immediately after the Court of Appeal ruling, we issued a statement, appeal to our members, they shouldn't resort to self-help. We believe so much in the rule of law. We have our confidence in the law, in the judiciary. That is why we said, don't worry, we will take the matter to the Supreme Court, where we believe that we were wise men at that level. We look into the matter and look at the issue of law. In the issue of Section 63 of Section 2, you can't blame NNPP for the inadequacies of INEC. In the case of membership matter has been established on so many fronts. Daba Kabiru Yusuf is a bona fide member of NNPP. He took part in all the processes that led to the election, and he was declared winner. It's unfortunate that they want to snatch it through the back door. It's not going to help democracy.
We'll definitely have to leave it there.
There are some states that are so dear.
Mr. Dipo, we'll definitely have to leave it there. Well, thank you so much for your thoughts, and of course, we'll definitely be keeping tabs on the situation as it continues to unfold when you head to the Supreme Court. Hopefully, perhaps we'll get to see something happen positively for the NNPP. But in other words, thank you so much for your thoughts on the program Lunchtime Politics.
Thank you very much, Ayo. Nigerians, thank you. Good afternoon.
Our supporters of the Labour Party in Imo State, led by the party's state chairman, Callistus Jerrychuk, marched to the INEC office in Owerri, the Imo State capital, accusing the Commission of intentionally delaying the release of certified true copies of all the documents that were used in the November 11th off-cycle governorship election. Now, speaking to newsmen during the protest, Mr. Jerrychuk says the CTC documents are important to enable the party to approach the court to reclaim its mandate. He urges INEC to release the CTC to the Labour Party as soon as possible. Meanwhile, addressing the protesters, the INEC head of voter education and publicity for Imo State, Mrs. Emanuela Ben Okpara, acknowledges that the Commission has received the official request for the CTC from the Labour Party and ensures that they will receive the documents. Right, let's head now and talk about the situation in Imo State. Of course, the elections, off-cycle elections have come and gone. But with me to discuss the issue in the studios, we have our guest, Mr. Jerrychuk, who is a citizens' rights advocate who joins us on the program Lunchtime Politics. Great to have you on the program.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
All right, so of course, the elections have come and gone in Imo State, and we expect the governor, Hope Uzodinma, to get to start doing things as it should as the governor. But perhaps we should start by looking at the prominent issues in Imo State as it affects reforms and, of course, labor issues. Of course, you are aware of what was going on in Imo State in the build-up to the elections, talking about the welfare of workers, labor going to Imo State, organized labor trying to start a protest, and then all sorts of issues propped up. So presently, where are we concerning reforms and labor issues?
Well, thank you. First, I am the Chief Technical Advisor to the Governor on New Imo Project. And the New Imo Project is about a 10-year economic and social development plan of Imo State. So I just wanted to first make that clarification. Well, first, our Governor is very grateful to Imo people for the peaceful conduct of the elections. It was not only peaceful, it was violence-free. We were very clear going into the election that our governor had built up a strong movement of Imo people. We said the train had left the station. We said all come on board. And we were stopping at the stations, picking up opposition members who became a strong part of the movement. And the destination was his re-election. We were clear that he was going to win this election. So it is abundantly clear as well that Imo people have crowned Governor Hope Uzodinma as the people's governor. That's who he is today, the people's governor. So what does that now entail? The expectations of Imo people are very high for his second term. Yes, he's driving the Imo Charter of Equity, which rotates the position of governor across the 3 senatorial districts. That will be further deepened because it may well entail in the second tranche of it, the deputy governor position, the senatorial districts, as well as the federal constituencies. That will come later. The idea is to bring more peace and quiet to Imo State. And so, governor is desirous, therefore, of all those who may be interested in contesting in 2027 to please take a deep breath and calm down and get off the political space. Because that space now must be the reset of the Imo agenda, which is the economy.
Well, of course, the opposition will definitely have their own grievances over how the elections went. And of course, the prominent one was the resident electoral commissioner who several of the parties, especially Labour Party, said, look, we don't want this lady, Sylvia Agu, if I'm correct, to oversee these elections. But nothing happened. It still went ahead. And now we're talking about having opposition parties, join hands with the Imo State governor. How is that going to work?
Well, let me explain that. First, the elders...
And of course, I'm still taking you back to the issues of the workforce.
That's fine. I'm coming to that again. The Elders Council of Imo State is in the process as we speak of setting up a committee to encourage our brothers, our sons who did contest for governorship and asking them to, in the interest of Imo State, an Imo-centric strategy going forward, to please don't waste their resources and distract the second-term agenda of our great governor, the people's governor. The reason is that the election won't even close. You can throw some numbers and all about the place. It don't change the picture. A win is a win, but more importantly, a big win is a big win. It's not going to change. And so what's important now is that the people's governor is desirous of all those who contested to please come on board and bring the value drivers that they can bring to the table. So we can put together a strong strategy that focuses on Imo economy, because that's where the real beef is. What do we do in his second term? It's very clear. Our governor wants to focus on jobs creation. How do we do that? He wants to attack the challenge of energy, power supply. He's talking to foreign investors already. We have the largest reserve of natural gas in Asa. Now, in fact, the Egbema power plant, the IPP that was started under President Olusegun Obasanjo, the people's governor is looking at it again. Bringing investors to rework that 350 megawatts of power because we need to power Imo State. Now, he has the approval for the free trade zone of oil and gas. Hajegbema and Uguta and Ngopala. And in fact, the building of industrial clusters with the active support of the private sector is on the table. That's the discussion.
How about the grassroots now? Because of course, social welfare.
Oh, absolutely. Look, Imo people don't want to be spoon-fed. They want jobs. We have a vibrant, educated workforce that needs jobs. Our people want to be taught to fish. They want the opportunity. This is the focus, and we have it. We have what it takes to empower the Imo economy. That's what the people's governor is focusing on. And look, you can't create jobs as government. You create an enabling environment. That's what the great governor is doing. And what is the focus? To attract more diaspora remittances to Imo, We're in the top 3 states, recipients of direct, the diaspora remittance. We are looking for foreign investment, but foreign investment comes with the confidence of local investors. So the Walter Smiths are stepping up their refinery capacity from 5 to 10,000 barrels of crude a day as phase 1, and they're going up to 50,000 over 4 phases. The Seplat is now propagating a new game to build a refinery of their own in Asa. So, we get a lot of things to do. And this governor and this people's governor is focusing on the economy, the issue of food security for Imo State, processing plants, deploying the cargo airport in Imo State. A lot of work to be done. We're very excited about the new Imo.
And so much indeed. Thank you so much, Mr. Jerrychuk, Chief Technical Advisor to the Imo State Governor on new Imo project. And of course, we hope to see the developmental strides that he'll be putting on in his second term.
Thank you. We're very excited. We're very excited. Thank you.
Now to Taraba State, where Governor Agbu Kafa says his administration will embrace technology to enhance governance and, of course, ensure improved service delivery, data management and communication with the public. He made this known at the swearing-in ceremony of the 16 newly elected local council chairmen, where he called on them to collaborate with one another in order to foster unity and knowledge sharing to address regional challenges and maximize developmental opportunities. And that's where we draw the curtain on the program Lunchtime Politics. And many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun.